Hello, welcome back. We're getting there. We are now up to the 8th of the top 10 Bible ideas for 2012. This comes from Exodus chapter 34, verses 6 through 7. It's a little bit long, but let me share it with you because it'll be familiar to you from the High Holiday liturgy, if nowhere else. Vayavor Adonai al panav v'ikra Adonai Adonai el rachum v'chanun erech apayim v'rav chesed v'emet notzer chesed la'alafim Nosei avon vafesha v'chata'a v'nakeh lo yenakeh poked avon avot al banim ve'al b'nei vanim al shaleshim ve'al rebeim. The Lord passed before him, Moshe, and proclaimed, the Lord, a God compassionate and gracious, slow to anger, abounding in kindness and faithfulness, extending kindness to the 1,000th generation, forgiving iniquity, transgression, and sin. Yet God does not remit all punishment, but visits iniquity of parents upon children and children's children, upon the 3rd and 4th generations. Wow, what a verse. There's a definite yin and yang to it, two different halves. One half is God is compassionate and loving and gracious, slow to anger, and the other is that God doesn't forget. God will place punishment upon the next generation and the generation after that. What a difficult concept for us to deal with here. The first part of it I very often use also with wedding couples to indicate, how do you fight with one another? Do you just fight and go at each other and attack and attack and attack? Or do you remember what it means to be compassionate and gracious to this person that you love? Slow to anger, abounding in kindness and faithfulness. Even in the midst of the most terrible argument, it doesn't have to be just between husband and wife, it could be between anyone. If you remember to be gracious and compassionate, slow to anger, and allow your kindness to come out, the tenor of the argument will certainly change. At the same time, we also have to remember that the tenor of the argument afterwards, we have to forgive and we have to forget. We need to move on. These things happen. We get into arguments with people all the time. It's how we fight that's important. But at the same time, God is reminding us that, when we do wrong has its consequences. Has its consequences for the future. Maybe in our lives, maybe it's also the future consequences in the lives of our children or our children's children, all the way on to the 4th generation. Think about this. If we think about the ecology of the world and climate change, we have, what our ancestors have done affects us today. And what we do today affects our descendants as well. If we hurt our planet, if we pollute our rivers and our streams and our lakes, those will be polluted not just in our generation, but in generations to come. Boy, what an incredible, it gives me chills a little bit about if we think about as parents, what is it that we do? We try to teach our children the right things, but that which we teach them, as well as our own actions, teaches our children in the generations to come. I don't know about anybody who is a parent, but I certainly know that some of the values that I have as I parent my children are coming directly from the mouths of my parents. The terms that they use, the ideas that they tried to teach us, and the mistakes that they made, I tried to learn from and try to teach my children differently. That's what I think this verse means about visiting it upon the next generation. Our actions today have consequences for tomorrow. So let us be slow to anger. Let us be compassionate. Let us be kind. And so that we will not make the mistakes that our previous ancestors make. It's a sense of how is it that we act now will guide and shape what the future will become. Thank you very much. I look forward to seeing you next week for number 9.